of my favorite people in the world we get to talk to for a few minutes here. Dr. Art Laffer. His economic acumen and influence in triggering a worldwide tax-cutting movement in the 80s joined him the moniker, or caused him to have the moniker of the father of supply-side economics. He was a member of President Reagan's Economic Policy Advisory Board, and he served on President Trump's Economic Recovery Task Force and was recently awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom from the President. Dr. Art Laffer joining us to talk about the economy. I thought that would be very important. How are you, Doc?
Fine, Dave. How are you doing?
Doing good. Ken Coleman's co-hosting with me today, that you know well.
Oh, yes, I do. Hi, Ken.
Dr. Laffer, always good to hear from you, sir.
Great hearing your voice.
So the study that you guys did at Laffer Associates is predicting with the fast reopening of state economies, that the America's recession could end as early as late summer. Swift recovery in the fall.
True. You know, the markets are telling us that things look really attractive. If you look at the stock market, it is down. That's true, but nothing like it was in 2008, 2009, or like in '74, or like it was in the Y2K problem. The market is telling us this is going to be a very quick downturn, but a quick upturn back up, which looks very nice to me. Makes me very happy. I was worried there for a little bit that it was going to be a lot stronger and a lot deeper. I really don't think that's the case.
I'm hearing Eeyore out there in the land. You know Eeyore. If it's so bad, and the Great Depression is upon us. So you don't think there's a Great Depression era coming?
No, this is not going to be a Great Depression at all. I mean, a couple of things are very nice. Well, they're not nice. They're much less bad than they were. All the original forecasts of the deaths and the spread of the virus and how fatal it was, all of those were a little bit higher than it turned out to be the case, which is wonderful, which means the death toll is going to be a lot less. It's a lot focused. So I think there's a lot of good news. And the latest news now is that we're well on our way towards a vaccine, which would be absolutely spectacular.
Oh, absolutely. I think we can all agree on that. So you guys are advising not only the White House, and you're not only in the White House regularly with President Trump and with this task force, but you're also talking to a lot of governors across the country, right?
I have been, yes. I've talked to a lot of them.
Are you going to see do you think you're going to see the recovery be spotty based on their policies on how quickly they reopen?
Yeah. There are two things that really hit here, Dave, that are really very, very important. Number one, the coronavirus was not even-handed in its attacks on different states. New York just got hammered. I mean, I think the death toll per million people was like 50% higher than the next highest. That would be New Jersey. And the top five, I think, the seventh one down is like a fifth the type of mortality rate that hit New York. So it was very selective in the states it hit. And also these states have very different policies as to how to open up. So the states that were hit hard also happen to be the states that have the most top-down dirigiste type of governments that really don't allow people to have the freedoms to reopen. So it's going to be a double whammy on those states. I mean, I look at like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Illinois, Massachusetts, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Those types of states are going to be hammered. States that are open, much more free, that have less impact of coronavirus, like Arizona, Washington, Texas, Utah, South Carolina, Colorado, for example, is a really wonderful one. They're going to be coming back very quickly. Texas has a special problem, which is the hydrocarbon. The price of oil dropped very, very sharply. Which will have a specific impact on Texas and Wyoming and West Virginia and Alaska and North Dakota. But those states are generally speaking are not going to do well, the oil states. But the ones that are low tax rates, pro-growth states with good governors are going to come out really well, I think.
Art, we heard this week from the Fed Chairman Powell that 40% of people making $40,000 or less lost their jobs. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of hourly wage earners in that number, and that's a devastating number. But I'm wondering if you see the positive side here, too, as these states open up and the service industry that was hit terrifically hard, that those jobs, many of those jobs are going to come back quickly because places are opening.
I think that's true, but there's a little weird twist here that's sort of in this very bad CARES Act. The one thing that's really hurt the economy most even worse, I think, than the coronavirus is the CARES Act. That was a $3 trillion PPP program. It gave unemployed people $600 per week extra above that. And what it's done is it's made being unemployed far more economically attractive than going back to your job. And, that was just a disaster to do that. And a lot of these people you're talking about are now getting unemployment benefits that, they're regular unemployment benefits plus $31,000 a year extra for not working. And so that makes it their incentive to go back to work a lot less than they should be.
Yeah. And if they don't go back to work, that slows the recovery, right?
Yeah, and now there was a very funny thing today, if any of you saw it by Secretary of Nation, who said they're going to pass a rule that you don't get the $600 per week or the unemployment benefits. If you get offered a job at your old salary, you've got to take it or else they'll withdraw the unemployment benefits. They're getting way too many rules and regulations here. They shouldn't have put the benefits in the first place.
Yeah.
We had unemployment insurance that was plenty large for temporarily taking care of people who were without a job, and then the federal government has to come in and try to mess around with all this stuff, and now they're trying to undo it with another regulation, and it's getting to be an awfully complicated process.
And it appears that July 25th, that the dates are going to run through, that the federal $600 runs through is way too long.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's great. Don't they understand that if you pay people to do something, they'll do more of it? I mean, what's so surprising about that? If you pay people not to work,
they will not work.
Hello, excuse me. But, I've been involved in these processes now since I was in the White House with Nixon when he did the Camp David thing. And, whenever politicians make decisions, when they are either panicked or drunk, as you say, David, the consequences are rarely attractive. And that is exactly what you're seeing now. You're seeing neophyte politicians making very bad decisions that make the system a lot worse.
Yeah, in some cases they might have been both. Yeah.
Huh?
In some cases they might have been both, panicked and drunk.
They might be both.
You and I have had lots of discussions over the dinner table and even on the microphone over the years of people, businesses that create jobs, the government doesn't, and individuals leaving states with a high income tax, and that you've done plenty of studies, and I've read them and quoted them, that the states with no income tax have outperformed economically the states with an income tax. Do you think you think we're going to see that magnified, the migration out of the Californias and out of the New Yorks, if they don't open up? Like, people are going to run out of there like a hurricane's coming at that place?
Yeah, I think it's going to be much more the New Yorks, the Connecticuts, the Michigans, the New Jerseys, those states. California is a story unto itself. Our friend Larry Gatlin said, if you haven't played in California, it's a brand new game. But other than California, I think it's very true. I think the SALT tax, the state and local tax deduction limitation, also makes it much more expensive for high-income earners to stay in those states. So I think we're going to see a lot of migration out of those states.
Dr. Art? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Dr. Art Laffer, father of supply-side economics, serving on President Trump's Economic Recovery Task Force. Laffer Associates coming out with a study this week predicting a fast reopening in the states that have a fast reopening, that any recession that we're feeling would end in those areas by late summer. Dr. Laffer, always honored to be with you, my friend. Thanks for hanging out with us.
It's wonderful, sir. It's wonderful. I love hanging out with you, by the way. You and Sharon are my favorites, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, we believe you. You're our favorite as well, brother. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.